Did you know coffee is the world's second largest traded commodity, surpassed only by crude oil? It's worth well over $100 billion worldwide, and 400 million cups are consumed daily by Americans alone, which makes the United States the leading consumer of coffee in the world. With coffee being such a hot commodity, the market can get saturated with competition, which makes it important to establish your identity and customer base in this industry. Good evening. We are IB Winning Consulting, which includes Daniel, Erica, LeAnna, Jessica, and myself, Tanisha. On our agenda today, we will cover the problem statement, coaching and feedback, the business climate, marketing plan, and the financial projections for the cafe.
Before IB Winning can provide any recommendations to Bruce, we first need to identify the problems in his business. To start, Bruce has two symptoms that are heavily affecting his shop's sales: the lack of employees and the shop ambiance. Due to the lack of employees, this creates a bottleneck on the weekends at the cafe's busiest times. This overall ruins Bruce's shop ambiance of a quiet environment. A full lobby with customers waiting 15 minutes for one cup of coffee will surely reflect bad on the shop. However, what's causing Bruce's problem is his lack of managerial experience. Because he doesn't want to lose his two main employees that work during the shop's busiest times, he ignores the fact that his employees are giving his friends and family discounts on the products. They may be Bruce's only full-time employees, but these actions are negatively affecting the cafe's sales. The main stakeholders of the Crazy Cafe are Bruce and his employees, who are critical to the operation of the cafe. But the most important stakeholder are the customers, who contribute to the success criteria of customer satisfaction. Along with quality products and fair prices, these all need to be met for the cafe to reach success. To solve his problems, Bruce can hire two new full-time employees. However, the turnaround time to train and develop these employees to be efficient in their position will further increase the bottleneck during the cafe's busiest times. IB Winning can safely assume that since Bruce has a lack of managerial experience, this is catering to his lack of sales with his current business model.
IB Winning Consulting recommends Bruce uses the following tools. Bruce first will set SMART goals for coaching his employees, as well as using the DMAIC framework and radical candor. When building the people in the company, Bruce will be specific in what he is asking of his employees. Let them know how their success will be measured. Make sure it's a goal that's achievable and provide those tools. Make sure the goal is relevant to the business needs. And the most important part of a SMART goal is to make sure it's timely. The DMAIC framework will help Bruce understand what his expectations are prior to meeting with his employees. Bruce has defined what the problem is that he wants to solve. He needs to gather the information to help him reach a conclusion on how to solve the problem. Collecting feedback from the stakeholders in the business and implementing a new structure for the business will set the cafe in the right direction. The feedback received from the stakeholders is how Bruce can control the outcome he receives. The best way to display effective leadership is with radical candor, meaning he needs to care personally, but also challenge directly. He will be direct and let his employees know the behaviors they are displaying are not representative of the company objective, and he will get their feedback on what they feel can be improved upon. Once the foundation is laid, which is the people in the company, now the external environment and trends need to be identified for the organization.
Focusing on the external trends that are currently happening in the macro environment, the coffee industry has played a significant role in each pestle dimension. For the political legal sectors, the primary production of coffee is based in countries outside the United States. Since we are the largest group of coffee consumers, as Tanisha mentioned, we are very dependent on international trade. The development technology has reached the coffee industry significantly, which is why some companies have resorted to using artificial coffee beans. In the world of appliances, new grinders, drip, and espresso machines are readily available. Currently, the world faces many environmental issues, which is why many people have been taking the approach to support more sustainable farming practices. To improve Bruce's coffee shop, IB Winning recommends Bruce to focus on social, cultural, and economical trends in his coffee shop. When we're looking at both point of views from a social cultural standpoint, consumers are more health conscious nowadays due to changing work patterns, schedules, especially with COVID-19. From an economic standpoint, the coffee industry may dramatically go down because consumers are trying to avoid caffeine in their drinks. As you can see here, the growth rate for the hot drinks market value is increasing between the years of 2014 and 2018, which the compound growth rate for the hot drinks market value is at 4.3% average. Although this seems like a good rate for the market, if we look at it from 2018 all the way to 2023, then there's a great chance of a steady decrease in the growth rate since consumers are resorting to more healthier practices. Bruce can then implement a caffeine-free drink and healthier products on his menu to our projected target market. Bruce can then develop a customer loyalty program and create a strong incentive plan for his employees with QR codes around the coffee shop to increase his overall sales and brand awareness.
As Erica previously stated, Bruce failed to focus on the projected target market. Implementing a target market is one of the most affordable and effective ways to reach potential customers and generate business. But to do this, you need to know your audience's demographic and psychographics. That is why our consulting firm analyzed these elements for the Winter Park area and determined that we wanted to target customers that fall between the ages of 35 to 55, that receive an annual income of $100,000 to $150,000 and are classified as white-collar employees. As for their lifestyle, it is characterized by full-time employment and heavy workloads. Their food selection is heavily influenced by the nutritional content. And lastly, they support small and local businesses instead of industry-dominating franchises like Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts. This map represents the geographic location of Winter Park. The different colors represent the different amounts that customers spend on snacks and non-alcoholic beverages on a monthly basis. And the yellow dots represent the competing cafes in this area. To gain and retain customers, the firm recommends that Bruce increases the cafe's social media presence by only focusing on social media platforms that are more commonly used by our target market. In that case, it would include Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. This is a cost-effective marketing solution that will not strain the cafe's advertisement budget.
Let's get to the heart of the issue, the financials. So for my section, I'll be breaking down the numbers of the Crazy Cafe. So to start off, I'd like to break down the net income of the previous 3 years of the company's business model. As you can see from the net income, there's a significant up and down trend, 2018 being the highest earning year, 2019 being the lowest, and 2020 being somewhere in between. In the next chart, you'll see that we made a few projections and options the company could choose from. The first one was done by using an average cost-based accounting method where we simply just averaged the previous 3 years and made an assumption according to that. As you can see, we have about a $12,000 return, which is nice, but it's significantly less than what they made last year. In the middle, we have a best and worst case scenario. In a perfect or imperfect world, these are the possibilities that could happen to the net income. But because the risk and probability are all over the place, we decided to go with an 86% success criteria instead. In this scenario, they can make $24,000, which is matching what they made in their best earning year in 2018. But for our group, we like to go above and beyond expectations. If you review the data a little further, you'll notice in 2018 and 2020, there was a lot of similarities in the spending, with the exception of advertising expense. You can see in 2018, they put a lot less money into advertising and got a higher return. But in 2020, they put a lot more and got less of a return. Now, why is that? Our assumption was the company wanted to compensate due to COVID and put more money into advertising. But as you can see from the return, that necessarily wasn't the best idea, which is why I want to give you guys one more option. In this scenario, we're basing it off the 86% success criteria, with the exception of decreasing advertising by $3,200 and increasing supplies by $1,900. Instead of advertising, we could use that money for marketing material, for product, 10 events, and even masks for our employees, our customers, and our followers on social media for our company, rather than using an outsourced company to advertise.
IB Winning Consulting assumes that Bruce will implement the changes in the business model. These strategies will be successful with minimal deviation from the forecast. The cafe will be able to achieve this 86% success criteria, and the online presence will drive direct sales of coffees, teas, and other branded merch. The cafe will maintain its relationship with the consulting firm for future growth. And if there are any points that require further clarification, the floor is now open for questions. Thank you very much.